Hello, Sharon. How are you? Can you hear me? I hope you can hear me. Thank you, Sharon. I'm glad that you're here with us tonight. Can you hear me? I know there's a glitch, a delay or whatever in the very beginning. Adam Condon, how are you? Jacob Hilliard, Claire Harris, Sharon Williams is with us. Wesley September. Wesley, you're coming up on a full year, brother. Thank you, Sharon. You're the only cat that I know that counts the freaking weeks. That is awesome. What's up, Jess B? How are you? Sean McCabe. David. Hey, Pops. How are you, dear? Home of Slipknot. Sean McCabe. What's up, Monkey Crap? How are you, buddy? Troy, what's going on, my friend? Nick Hendricks. Hello, Marcy. Gavin, how are you, buddy? Ryu. Hi, Simone. Jane is... I talked to Jane a couple days ago, and she probably won't be here tonight because she's probably still in the hospital, and it's probably a pain right in the butt, too. It's probably a pain in the ass. She might pop in, though. Delirium, how are you? Valcom, how are you? Harry Griffith, how are you, buddy? 175. Tina Marie. Hollow Dazen. Was that Sean? Did he bring his did Corey bring his son's band with him too? As far as I know, Shackleneck is doing good. I know he's getting better. He's on the mend. It takes a little bit for the plaque to get here. It takes longer than a week, Monkey Crap. It's only been a week. Victor, how are you? Arabic! Thank you, brother. I know you did. I know it was a treat. It was a treat. 59th, how are you? DB Mac. Oh, Arabic, it was definitely a treat. Oh man, I cannot believe it. I still am like walking around in a daze about it. You know what I mean? Like it's not like it feels great, but it's not what I didn't expect to ever get it. So it's just like that much more surprising to me, I guess. You know what I mean? Kind of like that, but I just never thought I'd get it. And you know, the way I looked at it with the 15 million or 115 million channels, only less than 700 have 100,000 or more. I was like, well, I don't know. Glamorous. Turbo Christ, what's up? Randy Man. No, I don't know. It's weird. I feel good. I feel great. You know, like it's like, nah, I walk around town. I'm like, I have a sign on my shoulder, 100,000. I'm just kidding. Can you imagine that? I thought the newspaper would write about me though. Just kidding. It takes longer than a week to get here. 175. I just got it last live stream actually. So thank you, Pops. MJ, how are you? They gotta do it they gotta go through your channel and they gotta make sure that you've been a channel for X amount of time, this and that, you know. It is a whole process. So we're in the process of it. Andrew K, how are you? Thank you very much. It is a cool shirt, though. It's a Kendrick Lamar shirt. Thank you, Randy Man. Nicholas Carroll, how are you, buddy? Claire Harris. AG. That help you out, Monkey Crap? What's up, Julie? How are you? It's like being made in the mob. That's awesome. Carol Hollenbeck, how are you? Tanya Harding, how are you? DL Hemingway, what's up, my brother? As long as Aramic, you're the Don, though. You're the Don. We have to kiss your ring because I don't want to have nobody kissing my ring. I don't wear rings, so wouldn't that be funny if no, Sean. if our local newspaper did a write-up on me, like our newspaper gets put out 3 times a week. We're like such a hillbilly town up here that we only have a newspaper 3 times a week. Yeah, it's Kendrick's shirt. It's from his concert, Monkey Crap. It definitely isn't. What's up, Lisa McDonald? How are you? I guess maybe I'll shoot for $1 million. I don't know. I don't know, Tanya. I print out. I got experiences and I pick them out and I do them. That's what I do. It is a paranormal channel. It is a paranormal channel. And I have shadow. I have some black-eyed kids. I have shadow people, demon encounters, flying humanoids, Dogman, glitch. I've got a bunch. I've got a whole bunch of different stuff. Thank you, Tina Marie. I do have some Lizo. And I thought of you, Aramic. I thought of you. I'm quite happy. What's up, Hercules? George, how are you tonight? I said I had a ghost story, Tanya. All right. Siggy, how are you? Autistic Mem. A little bit, Aramic. No, it's. All right, what's this one? Yeah, this is the super long one that I'm gonna save for a couple days. Really quick, before we go any further, I just want to do a quick kind of prayer for somebody. Pups, his friend, has ALS. They're not doing well. They may pass tonight. So if we could just say a little prayer for Mara Lee. I told Pups that we would do that for her. All right, Mary Lee, you are in our prayers, and I hope everything goes well with you. Jane Doe, how are you? Well, you spelled my name wrong, Nexus, but it's only in the title of the channel. All right, we're going to start it off with a rather interesting one. It was a hot, clear, and sunny year, 1999, the 19th of July, approximately 1 p.m. in Colwick Park, Nottingham. My friend and I were playing football in Colwick Park in front of a big house there, which is called Colwick Hall, when what I can only describe as a flying man slowly from right to left entered our view from behind a house. He was around 30 feet above us, flying upright, vertically, I guess. He was dressed like a stereotypical Men in Black, arms to his side, feet pointing downward. He was even wearing a tie pin because as he moved, the tie flapped. He made no noise, had no pack or any visual equipment. We both looked away at first and chuckled because we thought someone's taking a piss here. But we both looked again, and there he was, moving across out of our sight slightly faster than before. After 30 seconds or so, he shot straight up out of our vision at an incredible turn of speed with, again, no sound. Needless to say, my friend and I were in awe. We just stared at each other, could not talk for about a minute because of what we had witnessed. Now I've heard of flying men and whatnot, but after searching all over the internet, I have not seen anything exactly like what we had seen. Of course, we did not report it, or did we ever tell anyone else? We eventually lost touch over the years and randomly met again last week, and it was the first thing we both wanted to talk about. We were both 20, stone cold sober, beautiful summer day. Dude was not a helium balloon or a plastic bag, a kite of any kind. I don't care about online piss take, just generally curious about what it could have been. I love how the English talk. Online piss take. I once dealt with a similar Dogman-like creature when I was in my early 20s back in 2011. My granddad, Tom, was complaining that there is something causing a ruckus late at night for the past week or so. I, being the nice grandchild I am, decided to stay at his house over the weekend to see what was up. Sure enough, late at night, I started to hear noises, and so I went out with my 45 in hand, ready to confront what reside outside. I expected to find a coyote, which are common in the area, but instead I saw what can only be described as a dog man with the upper half of a dog and from the waist down man. As I approached this creature, it quickly turned its head 180 degrees like an owl, let out a deep gut yip, and started to charge at me in reverse with extreme haste. I emptied every round I had into the abdomen of this thing. It still was able to crawl with its muscular upper legs toward me. Dear God, I thought to myself. I looked stunned at this thing in eye and only saw the devil staring back at me. I quickly grabbed a garden hoe and with a mighty swift yell, I said, I'm going to send you back to hell, you goddamn thing. My blow landed on its head and blood squirted out. Thankfully enough, there was enough pressure to put the creature down. I went inside to tell my grandfather what happened because of all the noise. I decided that he should know. When I went back out to see the creature and show him, the creature was gone. There was absolutely no blood or any kind of ruckus, leaves or any kind of debris laying around, almost like it did not happen. I checked my magazine of my 45 and it was empty. My granddad did hear me unload. Could it have been a demon? I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Well, I don't think it was a dog man. This one is freaking creepy. Crazy Backyard Chicken Man, how are you? Jack Wagon Country Gal Show. Don't want to say that name fast. Zilla, what's up, my friend? How are you? Cynthia. Thank you, 59th. King Squirt, how are you? I don't think it plays fetch. I think it might get something if it really wanted it. Yeah, Nexus. I hit 100,000 subscribers last weekend. Yes, I did. The temperature, it's 64 in upstate New York. 64. It's not too bad right now. This experience is rather creepy. My father passed away with Lewy body dementia. For 3 weeks prior to his being admitted to hospice care center, my sister, mom, and I cared for him at home. He was in a hospital bed in the living room where friends and family could visit. He was totally bedridden and started having a lot of agitation and hallucinations, which is to be expected with his diagnosis. But a few of the things he described was getting kind of frightening and disturbing. He claimed there was a little girl who kept peeking at him from around his chair. He was visibly frightened and cried and asked me who she was and to tell her to go away. Another incident occurred when he started whispering and pointing over his shoulder and said to me, "Can you see him? That's an angel and he's come for me." The third was the most disturbing, and it happened to my sister and mom. My dad became very agitated and threatened to hurt my mom and sister and accused them of horrible things, and then said there were 2 demons standing in the room. There were many others, but these 3 were the most concerning. My dad was afraid to die and hung on for weeks, but passed away in the hospice center. All of our immediate family members have experienced paranormal occurrences in this house, such as hearing voices, being touched, and feeling like there was something or someone else present. The house was built by my parents, so there is no other history of previous owners, and it was built on farmland. My question is, was it all dementia, or was it something more? Since my sister says she has heard growling noises at night and insisted we sage the house, my mom has a tendency to buy antique photos and hang them in the house, which I told her was not a good idea. So my whole take on that is and I've said it before with like schizophrenia. I think there's like a 5% of people diagnosed with schizophrenia that are not mentally unsound. These things. I would think, even though they mentioned the dementia being that close to death, I would almost say yes, they were seeing something. Like there's like a near-death experience, or I don't know what you want to call it, but I heard it a while ago where a guy he was just a really shitty guy, and he had died at the hospital. Like they had brought him back to life, but he actually had demons. He was like in hell and being tortured for like what felt like days, weeks, months, a long time. Finally, he couldn't take it, and he screamed Jesus Christ's name and said, "Please help me." And next thing you know, he sees this light, and doctors are standing over him, bringing him back to life. And he was only out for like seconds. So I think I wouldn't I wouldn't say it was the dementia. I would say probably being that close to death. Um, you know. What's up, Lucas Williams? Johnny Ohm. Rochelle, thank you so much. Ro, thank you. I know Zilla just said he heard that story. It's a crazy, crazy story because he literally was only dead for, I mean, not even dead. Would you consider that dead? Yeah, I guess. Your heart's not beating, but you're not dead. I mean, I don't know how you'd label that. Yeah, I guess you would be dead if you're not breathing, your heart's not beating for like a second or 30 seconds or whatnot. But to be for 30 seconds to equal a month or more, a little more, and then just to be tortured by these demons and then like depraved looking creatures. So I got a Glimmerman experience for you. Little Glimmerman. Samara, how are you? I think I've read that case once. Turbo. I think I've read about that every time I make it. What's up, Conscious? How are you? SDL. And Red Cardinals in the house. Save it for later. I'll save it for after the Lizo story, just for you, Nexus. During my time at school, a few precarious circumstances landed me with no car. Because of this, I was forced to move to an apartment that would have put me within striking distance of my campus. Being that it was about a 2-mile journey, with my city's relatively small downtown falling between my complex and school, I found it almost rational to purchase an electric scooter as my primary form of transportation. My city ran alongside a river, and my apartment happened to border it. This gave me a nice view, but more importantly, it gave me direct access to the greenway that allowed me to circumvent all traffic on my scooter. It was a straight shot from one end of the city, my campus, to the other, where I lived. The greenway did have one flaw that regularly proved to be a deterrent. There was almost no light for about a quarter of a mile in a section behind my apartment and where I got on. My scooter was nice, but the headlight was abysmal. I resolved to cease using it entirely instead of relying on my eyes to be able to discern movement on the path ahead. During my year-long stay at Riverside, I could count on one hand the number of people I saw on that path after dark. Guess I was the only one crazy enough to be out there that late, and so regularly. I drove past a naked homeless dude tweaking about a mile from my house once, calling the cops upon my arrival back to home. I drove past one man whose chilling gaze could be felt even in the pitch black. He must not have been happy to see an electric vehicle with no lights at such an hour, which I couldn't blame him. Of the encounters I had on that path, there is only one that still haunts me. One, I couldn't tell any friends or family because I was sure no one would believe me. Like any other of my evening commutes, I made it to the gate in the back of my complex that led up to my home. I was confident in the dark, and I didn't fright easily. But as I unlatched that gate, I felt a sensation I had when that man was staring me down. It was being watched. Looking down the path to a section that lay ahead about 20 yards or so, under the flickering orange street lamp that signified the end of the greenway, was a German Shepherd staring at me. It was as if it had been taxidermatized. I couldn't see it breathing or blinking, just staring. Its eyes were almost human. Despite the distance, I could easily discern its irises, small and beady. I felt frozen, and a morbid sense of dread overwhelmed me. I didn't dare get any closer, nor did I. We were locked within a mutual trance, and the entire time it was completely still. I wasn't sure for how long I had been standing there, but I did not take my eyes off of it. I felt like that's what it wanted me to do. I knew my gaze was the only thing holding it in place. The river flowing and the sound of cars passing by on the nearby highway felt deafening. Further down the path, in the foliage adjacent, past whatever this thing was, there is a crackle of twigs being broken under pressure of what was likely a bunny or a groundhog. Before the sound finished reverberating, the thing had snapped its head to the direction of the source like an owl. Electrical pulses were surging through my body, and I could feel nerves screaming at me to immediately break for my apartment. However, I was so paralyzed with fear that I kept my gaze upon the creature, knowing where it was the only thing providing me a sense of comfort. Then, after it had seemingly located the location of this creature or animal, it leapt up onto its hind legs and darted off into the woods like a bolt of lightning. It was gone. It only took a couple of seconds for the rest of my body to catch up to what my eyes had just witnessed. Finally, realizing the thing was fixated on something besides myself, I immediately swung open the gate, carried my scooter up the mulchy hill, up onto the parking lot. In one motion, I turned it on, placed it down, and started to ride to the side of the complex to my apartment. I was on autopilot, focusing on perfectly executing whatever actions would lead to the security of my covers. Before I knew it, I was in my room. When I finally sat down on my bed, I felt like I needed to cry. I couldn't understand what had just happened. But with millions of thoughts racing through my head, I was just happy this experience was over. For the rest of my time at Riverside, I decided dealing with the extra traffic going through downtown provided was worth being in safety of the light. I could handle racing past crackheads and junkies, but I never wanted to see that thing ever again. I hadn't had another experience, and when I finally got another car after I graduated, I began to feel safe commuting again. However, I still live in the city. Noises at night make me feel very uneasy now. And one time I could swear there was something tapping on my bedroom window. I don't think I'm ever going to be the same, and the confidence I had to take care of myself in the dark has all but vanished. There are things out there that are not what they seem, things beyond our comprehension and understanding. Don't try and be brave. Don't try to be a hero. Trust me, it is not worth it. What's up, Brian Mons? How are you, buddy? Dare Wolf, what's going on? San Francisco. Smitty, how are you? Keith, what's up, my brother? Neutrino waves. Kathy Hayes, how are you? I don't think you heard me say hi to you a while back because there was so many people I was saying hi to, but hello, Kathy. Trisha Ann, how are you? ATD. I did not get it, Conscious Wanderer. I would have responded to it. Well, I'm glad you heard it this time, Kathy. What's up, Andy Davis? How are you, my brother? Dude, speaking of bowl of chilies, did you know that fucking Wendy's chili now comes in a can. That is so gross. Ew. Canned Wendy chili at a store near you. Do ghosts ever bark back at Dogman? I honestly don't know. Iris Boots, how are you? I'm afraid to try Wendy's canned chili. Me too. What's up, Jay Cortez? I'm doing well, Jay. How about yourself? Rick, what's going on? Sonia, how are you, dear? Dude, you email me, Brian Mons. Tell me about your puckwudgie. I'd like to hear it. Was it in your neck of the woods? And only ghosts hear it. Is it still paranormal or just rude? I don't know. That's like a tree falling, right? Jad? What's up, Jad? All right. We're 31 minutes in. Okay, here. It is time for Lizo. So I'm gonna give you guys the pick. I've got 3 lot lizard stories for you. Not far from the Conjuring house. Okay, so cannibalistic baby, dwarves from Florida, or ogre. You pick in Aramaic. Thank you, brother. So you pick ogre, cannibalistic baby, or dwarves from Florida. We got 2 ogre, 3 ogre, cannibalistic baby, ogre, baby, dwarves, ogre. All right, ogre it is then. Ogre wins. Y'all ready? Y'all ready for this? The neon sign of the Last Chance Oasis flickered erratically, a defiant beacon against the inky blackness of the desert night. Its dusty chrome and peeling paint whispered tales of countless weary travelers, but tonight the whispers were taking on a more unsettling tone. At the heart of this automotive purgatory reigned Lizo, a woman whose fierce spirit and glittery sequenced dresses were as legendary as the truck stop itself. She wasn't just any lot lizard. No, she was the lot lizard queen, a benevolent, if slightly terrifying, matriarch of the ladies of the night. Lizo's kingdom was the Last Chance Oasis, a sprawling concrete expanse dotted with hulking 18-wheelers and a diner that served coffee strong enough to strip paint. Her loyal subjects included a motley crew of truckers, each with their own brand of road-worn charm, and, of course, her fellow lot lizards. A sisterhood, Zilla, thank you. A sisterhood forged in a crucible of lonely highways and desperate desires. And then there was Earl, with his calloused hands, his oil-stained denim, and a heart as vast as the desert sky was Lizo's one true love. He was a trucker of repute, a man who navigated the asphalt veins of America with the grace of a seasoned dancer. Presiding over the greasy spoons and questionable chili at the diner was Rex, Earl's younger, flustered brother. Rex was a man of many secrets, most of which involved questionable life choices made under the influence of cheap whiskey and even cheaper company. Tonight, one of those secrets was about to come knocking. The air grew heavy. The usual chorus of idling engines and crackling CB radios began to fade, replaced by an unnerving silence. Then it began. A mist, thick and unnaturally green, swirled in the desert, swallowing the faint glow of the diner sign. It clung to the ground like a damp shroud, carrying with it an odor that was disturbingly earthy, like a forgotten compost heap after a particularly damp and unpleasant rain. A low rumble, deeper than any truck engine, vibrated through the asphalt. From the heart of the emerald haze, a colossal figure emerged. It was an ogre, a monstrous, hulking brute of creature. Its skin was the color of stagnant pond water, its eyes burning with a malevolent green fire, and its name, surprisingly, was Phil. Phil stomped towards the diner, his colossal boots leaving imprints that threatened to swallow smaller vehicles whole. The few remaining truckers huddled inside watched in a mixture of terror and disbelief. Lizo, ever the queen, emerged from the shadows, her sequenced gown shimmering even in the dim light. She strolled towards Phil, her hip swaying gait an audacious challenge. Well, 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 Lizzo's voice boomed, amplified by years of commanding attention. What do we have here? You lost your way to the swamp, big fella? Phil's rumbling laughter were like boulders grinding together. Lizzo, my dear, always such a flamboyant presence. His voice was a growl. Here for pleasantries. I'm here for Rex. Rex, peeking from behind the stack of cleaned plates, whimpered, Oh, no, not Phil. He owes me, Lizo, Phil continued, his green eyes fixated on the diner door. A debt from a poker game years ago. High stakes. Lizo tilted her head, a dangerous gleam in her eyes. And what exactly did Rex bet that would bring a creature like you all the way out here, Phil? Phil let out another booming laugh, this one laced with the distinctly unpleasant amusement. He bet his ass. More specifically, the premium seat that is Rex's booty hole. A collective gasp rippled through the assembly of truckers. Earl, who had been polishing his chrome, dropped his rag. Rex turned a shade of green that rivaled the mist itself. You want to collect Rex's booty hole? Lizzo's voice dripped with disbelief, quickly morphing into outrage. You gotta be kidding, Phil. That kind of debt is unsanitary, even for you. Phil's grin, a terrifying display of moss-covered teeth, widened. The bet is a bet, Lizo, and I'm here to collect. Now, hand him over, and this can be all over quickly, or you can make it interesting. Lizo straightened to her full formidable height. This was her kingdom, her people. No green booger-faced behemoth was going to waltz in and start claiming bodily assets. You want Rex? You gotta go through me. The other lot lizards emerged, a shimmering, defiant line beside the queen. They armed themselves with whatever they could find: tire irons, high-heeled boots, even a sturdy-looking lipstick tube. They might not have been ogre fighters, but they had heart, and they had Lizo. Earl, my love, Lizo called out, her voice firm. Keep the engines running on the big rigs. We might need a tactical retreat or a sonic deterrent. Earl, his jaw set, nodded. He knew Lizo. When she said she'd fight, she fought. Phil chuckled, a sound that shook the very foundations of the diner. A queen protecting her serfs. How quaint. But you, Lizo, you are no match for my exuberance. He took a lumbering step forward, hand reaching for the diner door, and Lizo did not hesitate. She grabbed a nearby broom, not for sweeping, but for swinging. With a roar that surprised even herself, she charged. The ensuing battle was a spectacle of epic proportions, albeit a slightly ridiculous one. Lizo was agile in her sequenced gown, dodging Phil's clumsy swipes. Her broom was surprisingly an effective weapon. She jabbed. She even managed to land a surprisingly solid blow to Phil's knee with the handle. The lot lizards were inspired by their queen, began their own unique brand of resistance. They threw compacts, sprayed perfume directly into Phil's eyes, and subjected him to a barrage of ear-splitting gossip that seemed to genuinely disorient him. One brave soul, a woman named Crystal, with hair the color of a traffic cone, even managed to lasso one of Phil's thick ankles with a strategically deployed extension cord. Phil roared in frustration. "This is absurd. I'm a debt collector, not a contestant on a reality show." Rex, emboldened by the chaos, grabbed a strategically placed bottle of hot sauce. "Take this, you overgrown swamp creature," and flung the bottle, which shattered against Phil's chest, coating him in a sticky, spicy mess. Phil flinched, his eyes watering. "My eyes, my beautiful, spiteful eyes." This was the opening Lizo needed. Seeing Phil momentarily blinded, she rallied her troops. "All together now for the last chance oasis." The lot lizards, along with a few brave truckers who had grabbed their own makeshift weapons, descended upon the befuddled ogre. They pushed, they shoved, they even attempted to tickle him with a feather duster. It was less of a fight and more of a coordinated, chaotic intervention. Overwhelmed, stung by hot sauce, and thoroughly annoyed by the relentless gossip, Phil stumbled backward. "This ain't over," he bellowed, his voice crackling in a mixture of pain and indignation. He tripped over a discarded tire. His massive frame crashed to the ground with a thud that rattled the filling in his teeth. With a final frustrated growl, Phil dissolved back into the emerald mist, leaving behind only the lingering scent of decay and a slightly singed patch of asphalt. Silence descended once more, broken only by the sound of Rex's ragged breathing and the distant hum of Earl's truck engine. The mist began to recede, as if it had never been. Lizo brushed imaginary dust off her gown, surveyed her domain. The truckers were cheering, a ragged, grateful sound. Earl rushed to her side, pulling her into a tight embrace. "You did it, Lizo!" he muttered, his voice filled with awe. "You saved us all! Again!" Rex, still clutching the empty bottle of hot sauce, limped over to Lizo, his face pale. I'm so sorry, Lizo. My gambling had gotten out of hand." Lizo patted his shoulder, her gaze softened. "We all have our crosses to bear, Rex, but you're family. You're part of the kingdom." She turned to the assembled crowd, her smile radiant. "And this kingdom," she declared, her voice ringing with authority, "does not tolerate ogres with sticky fingers, or ogres who think they can collect on specific debts at the last chance oasis. Now," she clapped her hands together, "who's ready for some of Rex's surprisingly decent coffee?" As the truckers and lot lizards cheered, a sense of normalcy, albeit a slightly surreal one, began to return. The last chance oasis forever marked by the night they had faced a debt-collecting ogre with a particular fetish who continued to be Lizo's kingdom, and their queen, with their sequenced dresses and fierce hearts, would always be ready to defend it, no matter how green or how much of a pervert the threat might be. And somewhere in the receding mist, Phil, the ogre, was probably nursing a sore backside and a serious case of perfume-induced blindness, forever regretting the day he tried to collect the debt from the lot lizard queen. What's up, Johnny Sumner? And this is right there, baby. Wiley, how are you? Thank you, Monkey Crap. Thank you, brother. I missed a green, something green was in my side of my view when I was reading. Zilla, thank you so much. Appreciate that, Zilla. Thank you, Kathy Hayes. Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, but I can't see him. He's parked in front of the building just down the road from my house now. I'll check real quick, Conscious. Yes, I did. Just got it, buddy. Just got it. Not really sure. Not really sure, Tanya. I don't think they chase cats, though. Shit. Ugh. Okay. Black-eyed kids. Black-eyed kids. Here we go. Aramik! Thank you, buddy. Thank you, SDL. Thank you very much. I'm getting mad at this thing right here, though. I don't like it. I want it to stay down. It drives me nuts. Quite possibly, Hollow. Quite possibly. I bet you, David. I bet you he became a fan. Eli, what's going on? I'm glad that you popped in, buddy. I'm glad that you popped in. The Conan O'Brien wave. I hate it, 59th. I hate it. Geraldo, thank you so much, man. I appreciate that. Aramik is generous. He is generous in more than one way. In more than one way. Janice Morrow, how are you? Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I highly doubt they're benevolent. Maybe, though. Maybe. All right, here we go. Black-eyed kids. I have no way of knowing if this was a prank by some punk with colored contacts or if I truly encountered a black-eyed child, but this happened to me. The town I went to high school is large suburban area located only hours drive in the freeway in the large California cities like San Diego and LA. Not a small town, but also not a metropolitan city. Just a lot of neighborhoods and shopping centers. I'd been driving for a year or two. I may have been a senior at the time. On my way home one day, I stopped at the CVS. It was just after school, so it was still sunny. In fact, it was so sunny out that I raised my hand to shield my eyes as I walked to my car. There were spaces directly in front of the store, and I had taken one of the first ones. Now, remember, I am a small female and grew up weary of being kidnapped. So, when I was approached in the parking lot by a young man on a skateboard, I was suspicious. I was a nerdy punk and didn't know anyone who skateboarded. And I didn't know this guy from school or anything. So I thought it was weird that he would even be talking to me at all, especially in the parking lot. So I come out and the skateboard kid is just standing by the hood of my car. I drove a beat up Honda Accord with my first car driving dents and all. So it was super weird when this kid complimented my car. I'll never forget. He said, "Nice car," like he meant it. So a little flattered, I looked up and into his face to thank him. I will never know if it was just a sunny shadow or if it was a demon, but his eyes, his sockets, the whites of his eyes, it was all black, shadowed, but also just black, black pupils, black sockets. It freaked me out looking into those eyes, and I could not look away. I could see all of him, but all I could see was those black eyes, and I managed to say thank you, became flustered as I went to open the door. But he stayed at the hood and offered to wash my car for me. He literally said, I could wash it for you. Wait, what? Why? No, I don't think so. I got into my car anyway and rejected his offers to wash the car. He was starting to creep me out, and he stayed near the hood of my car until I backed out of the space and left the lot. His creepy eyes, his creepy offer. I will never forget it. I maybe hope that he was dressed with his eyes with eyeliner and black contacts, but I will never know. I only saw him that once. And I may have seen a black-eyed child. Thank you. I'll wash your car, honey. Want to go on a date? I'll wash that car. Rando, how are ya? Big John? Big John. Well, I'd have to agree with you, considering I believe that aliens are demons. So, yeah, I'd have to agree. Let me wash that car, baby. Got a nice Honda Accord. Shit. She's doing better. She's probably sleeping. She's probably resting. I know that she's the medication she's on is pretty strong. So yeah, she didn't text me tonight, and I'm not going to bother her because it's late and she's still in the hospital. So I'll probably give her a holler tomorrow and see how she is. All right, I got an alien encounter. Today I'm 25 years old, but when I was 13, I had an experience that changed my life forever. Like many other nights, I suddenly woke up. Usually, I just changed position and watched my room illuminate by the moonlight with a bluish tone and then fell back to sleep. My bed is next to the wall, and I was facing it. But I had changed position with my face to the edge of my bed facing out toward the room. I wasn't thinking anything particular. I was just watching my room and suddenly something tilts and we come face to face. It was a typical gray-like alien, big head, 2 giant black eyes. I panicked and the only thing that would come to mind was to cover my face with the bedspread. I was so scared that I didn't even think about calling for my parents to help. I began to think that maybe I just imagined it, but I was too scared to uncover my head and see if it was really there. Then I felt a tap on my shoulder like somebody trying to get my attention, but I didn't think that moment. Then I knew that it was real. In those days, I used to believe in God, not anymore, for reasons completely unrelated many years later. So I started praying, asking for God for it to leave me alone. Time passed, and I was debating myself about uncovering my head to see if it went away. That maybe I imagined the tap on my shoulder as well, but again, I was too scared. And then I felt the tap on my shoulder again, confirming that it was real. I kept on praying and wishing for it to go away. I do not know how much time had passed, but it did feel like an eternity. At some point, I decided to surrender to my faith and try to sleep, hoping that the next day it wasn't there. The next day, indeed, it was not. Redbird, thank you so much. Indeed, it was not there. I told my sister, and she believed me. My mom doubted, but still told me it was possible, and my dad, of course, did not believe me. I started to look for rational explanations. First, I thought sleep paralysis, but as I said, I moved normally to change position, so I was pretty awake. I also thought about it being a hallucination, but if that was the case, I would expect to have more hallucinations in my life, and I've never had another. Someone told me when I shared this with them that it could be sleep hypanagana. Apparently, there is a possibility of feeling completely asleep and not like in a transitional state like sleep paralysis and still hallucinate. So this one is a big possibility. The thing is, I don't know how much time that state endures because a lot of time passed between one tap on my shoulder to the other. I thought about maybe an animal like a cat or a mouse that being that close could have given the impression of a face with big black eyes. But it can't be because it was level with my face when it tilted its head. And then my face was on the edge of the bed. So it could not be something standing. The only other logical explanation was that I imagined everything, but it does not explain the tap on my shoulders 2 different times. I can't rule out any of the explanation that maybe it was real. Today, I regret covering my head. If it wanted to harm me, it would have done so. It looks more like it wanted to call my attention, but I don't know what would an alien want from a 13-year-old boy. I can't remember the face in perfect detail. I was in shock. It's like when I got robbed on the street. I remember details about the guy, but it's like his face was blocked out in my head because of how strong the experience was. I understand now, thanks to psychology, that this is called repression. For many years, I have looked at my room in the night and talked, wishing for it to be there, apologizing for my reaction prior, and talk with it and know what did it want from me. I feel like I didn't react like that. Maybe it could have discovered a whole new world. Maybe we could have been friends. I feel guilt, but I understand the fear of the unknown is normal. I was just a kid after all. I still wish it to come back. If there was any possible way to contact it, I would 100%. Maybe one day I will see it again. I have to hope, right? That's my experience. Thank you. Redbird, thank you so much. I appreciate the love. The face eaters. Well, the face eaters from like 2 years ago, if that's what you're talking about, Kay. And that's the only stories that I've heard out of that area in a while. The government said they were gold miners, but I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. I agree 100%, Aramek. I was thinking that myself. Yeah, like 2 years ago in Panama and all these other areas, there were these like aliens that people were seeing, actually like whole little towns were, I guess not towns, but villages, thank you, were getting like attacked and shit. Yeah, I think Sean Ryan's a plant. That's just my own opinion, though. I think he's a plant 100%. The baby Cokes are the best. I have to agree. All right. What's up, 555? He does have interesting guests, but he's definitely, there is something definitely like strange about him. You know, like I commend him for his service and what he did. I have no issues with him at all. But I think like he went from diehard military to periodically talking about things that the CIA just wants us to hear. And he worked for the CIA extensively. So I think he's a plant. That's just my own belief. Exactly. All right. About 3 weeks ago at around 11 p.m., I decided to go to bed. I closed my bedroom door and was about to lock my door. I had a chain lock when I randomly got the urge to say, fuck it, and leave it unlocked. So I just kind of dropped the part that slides into the other part, got into bed, and started my nightly dome scroll. LOL. I was adamantly high, so what I felt like 20 minutes may not have been. But I kid you not, I did not notice this until what felt like a while went by. I just so happened to look up and see the chain swinging. As I stared at this chain still swinging, I realized that my phone is pointed directly toward it. So naturally, I'm like, well, let me pull out the camera app and see if it shows that my eyes can see, or see what shows my eyes can't see. I open my camera app and it kind of glitches almost. The screen kind of turns yellow and it's grainy and immediately starts to show it's this tall white humanoid oval blob that is almost made of particles. It's smack dab right where a human would be if it were to be swinging the chain. It had more of a concentrated center than the outside of it. And right before my eyes, like seconds, it dissipated outwards in every direction. To add to this, even more, the weeks following up to this, I started feeling more and more weird in my room, like I was being watched. I had a friend spend the night in my bed while I was away one night, and I mentioned to her that it felt like I was never alone in my room. She immediately admitted she felt the same way. I also had been experiencing cold chills on the left side of my face, but the only window in the room was on the right side. There are no vents in my room either. I also experienced between the cold chills and the camera thing, the hairs on the back of my neck stand up for the first time. Every night since it happened, I tried to recreate what I did to try to get the same results, but never got it to do what it did that night. I am only just now getting the courage to share this because I was too afraid to hear that it might have been a paranormal experience. I've always wanted to believe Q X-Files theme song. I moved away 2 weeks ago to a new city, 2 hours away. So far, nothing creepy. Could this have been a ghost or could it have been a glitch? Redbird, thank you so much, Redbird. Wow, that is so kind of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh. There we go. That's better. Shatter. It's kind of like a THC thingy, Wesley. Had to do the upstate shake. Even though I put fucking powder on tonight, I freaking stayed downstairs in the downstairs studio working all day on stuff. And I was in my PJs all day and I took a shower at like 10 tonight, and I fucking powdered up. I was like, I'm not going to do the old shimmy shake tonight. Nope. Yes, Redbird, thank you so much. All right, let's see, what time is it? All right, well, now we're in. I got a shadow person experience for. I don't think a donut would help. It's just how they dangle. I was staying on our flat where I lived with my roomies, but I was the only one in the apartment at the time. There is a long L-shaped corridor leading to the kitchen. At around 11 p.m., I started hearing sounds as if there was someone in the apartment, so I just popped a message in our group chat asking who it was, but everyone confirmed they were not home. So I automatically thought someone got in and I went to investigate. All of the lights were off and I was not hearing any noises anymore. So I left my room and slowly walked to the kitchen with the lights still off because light switch is at the other end of the hall and the bulb in the corridor is broken. The only source of light was the moonlight coming through the windows. I entered the kitchen and there was no one. So I just stared at an empty place for a few seconds when suddenly a glass knocked itself off the kitchen counter and shattered. Immediately after that, I heard a quick step, more like stomping, coming in my direction. So I turned around and ran out of the apartment as fast as I could. The stomping was following me as I ran, and I could feel a clear presence right behind me. But it stopped right as I left the apartment through the front door. I was in my PJs, barefoot, no keys, no phone on me. So I went back in, quickly grabbing my phone and keys and shoes, and went out and walked around the neighborhood for a couple hours, talking to a friend of mine on the phone about what had just happened. Nothing else happened since, but I had only lived there for about 6 more months before moving. This wasn't my first experience, but it definitely was the one that made me uneasy, as I am quite familiar with paranormal activity. This might not have been a ghost. This might not have been a ghost. It might not have been a shadow person. It might have been some sort of demon. I'm not sure. Glitch? Who knows? Has anyone else had anything similar? Please let me know. This public in on Friday nights. Been thinking, oh, Aramic, that'd be awesome. That'd be sick, dude. I would do that definitely. We have a what are they called? Planetarium down like an hour south of where I live, but not like a telescope. That'd be sick though, Aramic. I would definitely do that. All right, now we'll work our way back. Somebody's got an attachment, just saying. Who has an attachment, Aramic? Me? No, I didn't go to the Bigfoot festival. No, I just stayed home. Maybe. I think it's because of when I was a kid playing with the Ouija board, probably. I'd say this happened close to 12 years ago when I was 16 years old in North Las Vegas. To this date, I have never had such a thing happen to me again, but it's a moment that I will never forget and forget, guys. I'd like to add that I am somewhat a healthy skeptic. I am not religious, though I am open to the idea of higher powers. My brother and I were at a house party, and when it came time for my brother to leave, I insisted to stay, knowing that I'd have to walk home eventually since he was my ride. But mind you, we didn't live very far away, maybe a mile or two. Fast forward to me leaving, and I was on my way walking home. I had a nice little buzz, but I definitely was not impaired to the point of having my vision or motor functions affected in any way that I can blame it on. I know the whole 3 a.m. thing is super cliche, but it definitely was around that time frame. So I am going to go ahead and say when I started walking home, it was around 2 a.m. The streets were wide and almost no cars seen. I know as a woman it's different, but as a guy, I'm actually took comfort in cars passing at this time because for a small window, I felt like I was not alone walking when they were passing, if that makes sense. The journey was eerie, but I made it to the entrance of our neighborhood. Unfortunately, my house is basically at the opposite end of the winding road, yet still a straight shot, so I had a little ways to go. But nonetheless, I knew the streets and safety was on the horizon. Sorry for a long intro, just wanted to give you some context. The houses are fairly sized, and I'm walking down the sidewalk. Between each house, there's basically an alleyway of darkness. In the day, it would be a walking path, perhaps to the backyard with, electric meters on the walls, houses, ACs. Anyway, all the night. Anyways, at night, these alleyways are almost pitch black when you look far enough. As I am walking down the sidewalk, I can't help but glare in between each house and start getting in my head and tripping myself out from my imagination. I try to slow my roll mentally since I am alone and stay en route. No cars have passed in a while, thus no comfort. I continue like this down the street until my house is finally within sight. Obviously, I felt a little better with my destination in view. Then a car comes north from the direction of my house, and I am on the right-hand sidewalk, but with the road to my left, so I thought, sweet, another human to see me home, and I'll be home in a minute. It was when this car passed me and after the flash of its headlights that I saw what I saw. Already looking toward the street after the car passed on my left, something grabbed my attention in the corner of my eye, crossing the street toward me. The street lights were those yellowish ones, so the street was lit just enough. At first, I thought it was a dog, so I glanced directly at it. And what I saw initially, if I had to describe it, it was what almost seemed to be a black silhouette of a little boy trotting toward me. I don't know if you ever seen the typical statues of toddlers, like in the garden section of the store, curly hair and on a swing, whatnot. But if I had to describe the black silhouette, it resembled that. I'm an avid gamer, so, buddy, hang on. Look who just blasted in. Come here, buddy. Hi. Look who just blasted in. He blasted in. He just pushed the door wide open. Hi, buddy. Hi. Yeah. Whoa. Want some love? Yeah. You're a good boy. Yeah. Good boy. Good boy. Here. Good boy. Something freaked him out. He never comes in like that. Here, want to lay on some paper? Here you go. Lay down. I'm an avid gamer, so I assumed I know when to lock in. So when this thing caught my eye with a raised brow after the car passed, it was when I did a double take to confirm. When I lost my shit, I remember turning directly toward it after the glare of the headlights. After any factor, I could have blamed it on past for but a second or two, enough for me to analyze. There it was, a shadowy little boy trotting toward me with no features, around 2.5 to 3 feet tall. The moment I consciously accepted this was happening, I gasped, already turning my body, and yelled as I took off in a full sprint toward my house. I shit you not. It felt like I was passing a house every 2 strides. Never ran so fast in my life. As I'm running, trying to find myself while I was running from mid-run, and yelled again and turned into turbo, like Turbo Christ. Just felt like it was right behind me. I was already running as fast as I could, but my survival instinct said otherwise. I never looked back once. I ran all the way to my house, and thank God they had left the front door open for me. I slammed it behind me and locked it, and there was my dad and brother, still awake, reclined, watching TV. I'll be 29 in August. Yet I remember this night vividly. It gives me chills recalling this moment. I've never shared it with anybody, so let me know what you guys think. Dude, I can't believe he busted in like that. The door is shut, and all I hear is boom. He'll stand up and go boom with his paws and push the door wide open. Ha ha, little buddy. Oh, buddy. I didn't go to it, Robert. We had one up here in the Adirondacks, too. That's funny. I didn't know there was one in Nashville, Indiana today. No, he does not like doors being shut. He's just like, let me in right now. Time is it? All right, we got a couple more minutes till. This may be my first and only experience with an alien. I was about 8 years old, living in my house in New Jersey. My bedroom window faced the street. It was on the 2nd level. I don't remember being levitated out of my bed. My memory picks up as I am levitated in front of my window, then able to go out the window without it ever being opened. I remember thinking, this is really strange, but kind of cool. But as I entered into this craft, my fears went away because my dad was already there. I remember the inside of this ship was goldish and red, and it had a long tube-shaped thing, and these creatures were kind of mustard colored. Being the only daughter of 5, I often told my dad about my dreams, and he always enjoyed listening to them. The next morning, I was telling my dad about the dream, and he got very silent and gave me a strange look and said, I don't want to talk about it. In my mind, at that second, I knew it was 100% real, and the same thing / dream had happened to my dad. We never spoke of it again. Black-eyed kids, black-eyed kids. Here we go. April 15th, 2023. Literally had a black-eyed kids experience on this night. After taking my girl out for a night where she had a bit too much to drink, I went for a drive after holding her hair. She doesn't usually let loose like that. We know alcohol can lower our vibrations anyway. I was hopped up on caffeine from being the designated driver, so after I tucked her in, I went for a drive. I was not on drugs, completely sober, not 2 blocks from my house in Henrico County, Virginia. I saw a little kid, maybe 10, a boy on the side of the road with a black hoodie. He waved, and I slowed down to see if he was okay. Before I rolled my window down, I had a bad feeling of dread. The kid looked up and had pale skin, empty eyes, black eyes, just so black and void. The moment I saw him, it felt like slow motion. I did not stick around. I sped off and came home freaked out. Then my dog started to growl. He was staring at the front door. I did not look out, but I felt an unexpected dread, so I prayed the Lord's Prayer, and then my dog stopped growling. I Googled kids with black eyes and went down a black-eyed rabbit hole. The sighting happened at around 11:10 a.m. in Lakeside area of Henrico, Virginia, near Richmond. It was currently 7:22 a.m. And I was still not able to sleep after. Some other black-eyed kids. Craigers! What's up, Craigers? Lisa McDonald, I don't know if I said hi to you, but I spotted your name and I just wanted to say hi. Stephanie S., how are you? We are missing Sasquatch and Grandma. Oh, hang on a second. Actually, physical adjust these fuckers. There we go. I believe my friend and I saw what would be called a dogman. We were driving down a very rural road here in Montana looking for his phone he had lost a few days earlier. Now, he was drunk when he called me to ask for help. I had a few beers, but I was not drunk, so I thought I'd help him. These roads are very rural, hardly any traffic ever except for locals. We followed his supposed route, looking for the phone he said he had lost when he got out to piss and fell down. Followed these roads for like 30 miles or so and turned back. The sun was starting to set, so it's getting dusky out. Is that a word? I don't know. I'm still half-heartedly looking for his phone near a ditch of the road. There were a few times I thought I seen something that could be his phone, so I stopped and have him check it out. Nope, not a phone. Well, about 15 miles back to town, so about 15 miles more to go, it's damn near dark outside and I got the high beams on. And I see a figure crossing the road about 30 to 40 yards ahead of us, and it was huge. At first, I think elk. That would be the most common, but it's not moving like an elk. Then I think moose. They are kind of gangly looking, so move weird. And they are rarely seen in my area. It does happen, but it's rare. So now I'm thinking bear. It does kind of move like a bear, but it's much bigger than a black bear. Grizzlies are almost unheard of in this part of the state. It has happened, but extremely rare. So I'm thinking maybe it's a very, very cool experience. But then this thing does something that blows my freaking mind. Keep in mind, all of this is happening very quickly. So my mind is trying to explain logical reasons to myself while this thing lumbers across the road. When I say lumber, I don't mean clumsily. It moves in a very methodical and very fluid motion. This damn thing gets to the edge of the road, stands up on two legs, and walks into the ditch like a person would. Once again, very fluid-like. I've seen bears walk on two legs. There is even a bear in Colorado somewhere that does this all the time, and it looks pretty creepy, to be honest. But this was not a bear. I repeat, this was not a bear, at least one that I had never seen. It could have been the height or taller than a grizzly, standing on its hind legs, but from my estimation, it would have had to have been quite a bit taller for that. It walked down into the ditch and up the other side and casually walked over the 4.5 to 5 foot fence. And when it walked over said fence, it stared back at us. I could clearly see a side profile of its head as it turned to look at us. It looked nothing like a bear. It looked like a friggin' wolf head, except 2 to 3 times larger. The arms were way too long to be a bear arm and not as much fur. I could swear I saw long fingers with claws at the end of each. The way it moved, the way it looked over at us, and the way it looked screamed werewolf to me or Dogman. I have never seen anything like this, but I hope never to see it again. I was not really scared seeing it. I wasn't even scared after the fact. It just seemed like an extremely rare, unique experience. But the way it moved in the ditch and crossed that fence screams to me that this was not an animal that is quadruped, that it is very unique. After it was all over and it disappeared into the darkness on the other side of the fence, my friend looked at me and asked if I had seen it as well. I said, yeah, explain it to me what you saw. He did. And it was almost exactly like what I had seen as well. I asked him what he thought it was. And he said these words, not mine, Dogman, and then chuckled a bit. That was my exact thought as well. I did some research, and there have been many sightings all over the world. There are even quite a few in the United States. And I firmly believe that is what I saw. Like I said, I wasn't scared. It didn't seem malevolent in any way. It was just going about its business. If anything, it looked at us like it was curious. That's my experience. Believe it if you want. I don't care. I know what me and my friend saw. Thank you. Delirium, I agree with you 100%. I love fall weather. Fall weather is the greatest. Jeremiah Israel, how are you, Jeremiah? Glad that you're here with us tonight. Glad that you are here with us tonight. Tonight's the night. No, they do, George. There's been sightings of black-eyed adults and such. Black-eyed adults. What's up, Tyler? How are you, buddy? We miss you, Jeremiah Israel. All right. Now, Nexus, are you still in your shed? Guess what? I don't care. Because that was fucking gross. We are doing the Glimmerman experience. A couple of nights ago, I was riding my e-bike off a trail. I usually go down to chill. I always go way down the trail because I like to get away, and it is heavily wooded area with a bench. At first, I was playing Black Ops 6 on my G Cloud. Then I started playing music. At first, I was playing some hard rock and metal, and 2 minutes after, I started something through a couple rocks. It landed directly to my right. It was clear whatever it was not trying to hit me. I keep playing, and then 2 more rocks hit in the same area. I have found from experience it is better to ignore these things sometimes because it could get worse if you acknowledge them. Then I switched Higher in the Sun, Sublime, the neighborhood of music like that. The first few minutes, I thought I kept seeing something right out of my view, but when I would look, nothing was there. So then I went back to playing Call of Duty, but I had it muted and was listening to the music for about 10 to 15 minutes. And I happened to look to the right of me, and I see what looks like Predator camouflage from the movie. But all I can see it clearly dancing around, swaying, bobbing its head. So I looked to the right at it and said, yeah, that's good, right? When I acknowledged it, it did not disappear or run away. I did not have a feeling of dread or despair. It was more like a calming feeling. And also, it started to move a little more when I acknowledged it. It seemed like it could hear my music almost. And then I played something that it could hear a little louder, and it seemed to move more. It was cool as fuck. And it looked like it was just having a good time listening to my music. I don't know how I feel about that one. Glimmerman listening to tunes? Maybe. What's up, Jamie? How are you? No, not Steven Seagal, the Glimmerman. Glimmerman is like predator-like creatures. Predator-like creatures. Has anybody seen Five Rings tonight? Jeremiah Israel's from 8 Mile. 8 Mile. He's from M's neck of the woods. We're doing well, Jamie. There he is. What's up, brother? Ha ha. Just ask and he shall appear. Zach, no, they're not new. They've been, Native Americans have talked about Glimmerman. It's just a weird name of what they are called now. But people have talked about them for especially. I know, right, brother? I know. I don't think we're going to see the World Series this year, though. I don't think we're going to see it this year. In November, I was out early morning in my neighborhood with my dog. We were walking our normal route as night slowly turned to dawn. It is. I would like it to happen, but I don't think it's gonna. I was hoping it happened, brother, but I don't know. You know, I'm still waiting. My dream World Series would be Dodgers versus Boston. I would fucking shit if that ever happened. I would be so excited. What's up, Southern Charmer? How are you? In November, I was out early in the morning in my neighborhood with my dog. We are walking our normal route as the night slowly turned to dawn. About 50 yards away from us, moving left to right, was an unnaturally thin being running with full Forrest Gump arm pump. This thing was running as if the devil and a half of hell were after it. It runs up into a yard and comes to a dead stop at the corner of the house. It perfectly blended against the siding and shutters on the house, as if this thing was grayish on the bottom and dark on top. My dog and I kept walking, albeit a little slower, toward the house. I keep my eyes on it, and my 70-pound Amstaff mix is showing no sign of fear. I thought it may be a runner who had to take a leak, but there was no movement, no breath fog, perfectly still, or perhaps a peeping Tom. As we get closer, the figure goes to the back of the house. By the time we get to my house, or by the time we get up to the house, there was no sign of it. Oddest thing was there was a heavy frost that morning and absolutely no sign of footprints. All right. I think it's Lizo time. It's Lizo time. All right. Whoa. Totally missed my fucking desk right there. Y'all ready for this? Y'all ready for this? Baby. Here we go. The air in the Florida Everglades hung thick and heavy, the cloying brew of humidity, diesel fumes, and something else, something ancient and unsettling. This was the domain of Swampy Stop, a truck stop that had seen better days than mediocre days. Then a long, slow slide into despair and, whisper it, the supernatural. For years it had been abandoned, a skeletal monument of forgotten journeys, its cracked asphalt yearning for the rumble of tires, its empty diner booths echoing with phantom conversations. But Lizo, oh, Lizo was not one to be deterred by a little rust, a little grime, or even the persistent rumors of spectral squatters. Lizo was the undisputed queen of lot lizards, a formidable woman whose beehive hairdo defied gravity and whose business acumen was as sharp as her stiletto heels. She saw not a haunted husk, but an opportunity to reclaim her throne, to build an empire, and finally have a decent place for her girls to operate. Her plan was audacious. With the help of Earl, a trucker whose heart was as big as his rig and whose affection for Lizo was blindingly obvious, they out breathing life back into Swampy Spot. Earl, bless his greasy, grease-stained soul, enlisted a few of his trucker pals. They hammered, they painted, they wrestled with stubborn plumbing, all under Lizo's watchful, sparkling-eyed gaze. Her crew of lot lizards, a motley but loyal bunch, included a bored Tiffany, a surprisingly philosophical Brenda, and a terrifyingly efficient Janine, pitched in where they could, mostly by organizing furniture and offering moral support in the form of very loud encouragement. The grand reopening was set for Friday night, promising cheap coffee, questionable hot dogs, and the usual companionship. Lizo, resplendent in sequence jumpsuit that shimmered even in the dim, flickering porch lights, surveyed her new domain. The place looked almost presentable. A faint aroma of bleach fought valiantly against the lingering scent of stale beer and despair. Then it began. Not the ghostly moans or rattling chairs they half expected. No, this was far more peculiar. A tiny, perfectly formed boot tapped incessantly on the corner of the diner. Then another. Lizo, mind boggled to some distant radio station, froze. From the shadows of the kitchen emerged a small figure. Then another, then another. They were not ghosts. No, these were dwarves. Not charming singing dwarves, mind you. These were, well, they were perverted. Their little eyes gleamed with an unsettling mix of mischief and something that Lizo, with her years of experience, recognized as pure, unadulterated horniness. They swarmed not aggressively, but with a disconcerting nimbleness, weaving between the legs of truckers, giggling and snatching at loose change. One tried to whisper sweet nothings into Earl's ear, only to be met with a chuckle and a gentle shove. Another attempted to abscond with Tiffany's purse, only surprisingly ferocious Brenda, armed with a well-aimed spatula. Lizo, however, was their primary target. They swarmed her, these pint-sized perverts, touching her sequenced jumpsuit, pulling at her hair, their high-pitched demands echoing through the nearly empty diner. "Pretty lady," squeaked one, his beard practically brushing her knee. "Dance with us," chorused the others, their faces contorted into disturbing grins. Lizo, for the first time in her illustrious career, felt a flicker of genuine fear, but it was quickly replaced with a surge of something far more powerful: righteous indignation. These little creeps were threatening her livelihood, her girls, and her empire. With a roar that seemed to shake the very foundations of Swampy Spot, Lizo squared her shoulders, her beehive quivered with fury. "Listen up, you little abominations," she bellowed, her voice surprisingly resonant. You think you can waltz in here and disturb my business, my establishment? The dwarves, momentarily stunned by her ferociousness, huddled together, their tiny faces a mixture of trepidation and continued, albeit slightly muted, intent. I've dealt with bigger threats than you lot, Lizo continued, advancing on them. I've seen it all, and I'll tell you what. You can either get in line, buy a cup of coffee, maybe even patronize one of my ladies with respect. She gestured to her girls, who were now watching with a mixture of horror and morbid fascination. Or you can get out, and I mean out. I'm not talking about leaving the premises. I'm talking about scattering across the swamp like a forgotten bait. The lead dwarf, a lecherous specimen with a monocle precociously perched on his nose, puffed out his chest. But we are the spirits of this place, the guardians. Lizo threw her head back and laughed, a booming, infectious sound that somehow caught through the thick swamp air. Guardians? You look more like stray garden gnomes who have had too much moonshine. And if you're spirits, then this place has been haunted by horny hobgoblins for decades. She then launched into a surprisingly detailed and frankly R-rated explanation of economics of the truck stop business, the importance of maintaining the professional atmosphere, and a strictly enforced rules regarding customer contact. Her speech was peppered with colorful analogies and threats that, coming from Lizo, were terrifyingly plausible. She explained about reputation, repeat business, and the vital role of happy truckers. The dwarves listened. Their perversion slowly morphed into something akin to awe. Lizo's sheer force of will, her unshakable confidence, and her perfectly executed business plan, even if it was a little unconventional, was definitely overwhelming. And then something shifted. The lead dwarf, no longer quite the lecherous, stepped forward. You have a point, he admitted. His voice tingled with a newfound seriousness. We have been mismanaging this establishment for a long time. Lizo raised an eyebrow, a silent invitation for him to continue. Perhaps, he continued, looking not at Lizo's body, but at her determined face, we could contribute. We are good at finding things, lost items, hidden treasures. And so a bizarre alliance was forged. The perverted dwarves, now under Lizo's firm, sequenced thumb, became a secret weapon of Swampy Stop. They were surprisingly adept to finding lost tools for truckers, locating missing wallets, and even sniffing out the best deals on fuel. Their unique energy, once channeled, became an asset. They became known as the Lucky Little Helpers, and their presence, once terrifying, became a bizarre but welcoming quirk. Lizo, with Earl by her side, a steadfast and loving partner, transformed Swampy Stop into the most profitable and talked about truck stop in the entire US of A. Truckers came from miles around, not just for the companionship, but for the incredible service, the surprisingly clean facilities, and the legend of Lizo and her 7 dwarves. The dwarves, in turn, found a purpose, a sense of belonging, and in their own strange way, a grudging respect for the queen who had so spectrally put them in their place, and the swamp. It held secrets, but now it vibrated with laughter, the rumble of engines, and an undeniable success of Lizo's reign. Three Atlas, George. It's a comet. I did a couple of videos talking about it. It's a comet that is half the size of the sun in diameter. Its nexus is half the half the width of the diameter of the sun, or whatever. it weighs like 33 million pounds, they estimate. It does not have a tail, but it does. It's traveling at a phenomenal amount of speed. And it's quite possibly a alien ship. Aramik! Thank you, my brother. And just for that, Aramik, I have a story for you. I have a story for you, Aramik. Now, for those of you who do not know, Aramik is one of the greatest Mothman investigators ever known to man. He has Tigger did that to Belle. Hang on a second, guys. Hang on a second. I gotta check on Tigger. Oh my God. This is what Tigger said. This is what my daughter said. Tigger just came running into my room and hissed at us. When he tried to get out, he's out now. It sounded like he knocked on my door. He's a skinwalker. He woke me up. It was so loud. So then I just walked out of the studio, and Tigger's like this. Meow, 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 meow. Is Janie here? Kaylee Coconuts, how are you? Is Jane here? I don't see Jane. I know Jane Doe is here. Okay. No, Jane Doe is here. Tigger does want attention. That's what he's just a little asshole. He's like meow 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 meow. He talks. He's like just a dink sometimes. Da da da. Bear spray work on Dogman. It may be able to detour a Dogman. Tigger is a Navajo coon cat. Instead of a Maine coon cat, he's Navajo coon cat. Oh, Redbird, I'm sorry. Night, little buddy. Love you. All right. So once again, back to the experience. Aramik is the Mothman. He is the greatest Mothman researcher in the world. He's traveled worldwide extensively on his own dime, might you. He has written many of a thesis for many colleges that want to know about Mothman, and they always turn to Aramik for his vast information on these creatures. And yeah, I don't think nanotech is what cryptids are. But anyway, Aramik is definitely the greatest researcher of Mothman. And this is for you, Aramik. I was probably 10 at the time, so maybe 23 years ago. I woke up randomly late at night and saw this guy staring at me through my uncovered window. I slowly pulled my covers up past my nose, keeping my eyes locked on him. Definitely not sleep paralysis, night terror, or a dream. I've never had sleep paralysis or night terrors, and nightmares are rare. Plus, I view all my dreams in floating third person. I stared at him, barely breathing, barely blinking. I have no idea how long, but it felt like a long time. At some point, sleep must have overtaken me. I don't think I remember even seeing him blink. I got serious old researcher vibes from him, but he made no attempt to communicate. Based on height of the window, it was at least 6 feet tall, very slender torso and arms, but I couldn't see his whole body. I couldn't tell you if the fur was part of him or some sort of suit. I made a report on MUFON and did an interview a while back. The locale was Calaveras County, California, very rural. Nothing like this has ever happened, but my mental image is pretty clear. So clear I can't sleep without blinds anymore. I'm paranoid. I almost picture him appearing to stare again. Objectively not malicious. It was just very creepy. This happened in 2010. I was staying in another city visiting my cousin. I didn't have school that week, but he did. Anyway, he asked me if I could walk him to school, which was about 3 blocks down. As we started walking, I noticed an abandoned house, and that's when I got an idea. I told him we could wait in the abandoned house. Then, when we saw his mom leave for work, we could walk back to the park and spend the day there. She passed by, and we left to the park. The park was the same distance as the school, but on the opposite side. It's actually a small city. My cousin decided to sleep on the slide, and I was on Facebook on my crappy flip phone, sitting on the swing. He woke up and asked if I was hungry. I said, yeah, so I had an idea to go to the burger place that wasn't too far from the park. We got there, I ordered a burger, and he just wanted fries and an ice cream cone. We're sitting on the sidewalk. The place is like Sonic's, only cheaper. We could see the school from there. Now, up in the sky, I saw what looked like a giant things hovering over the school. It seemed to be about the size of a bus. Dude, do you see that? I asked my cousin. Yeah, what is it? He said. I decided to take a video of the creature, but all that came out in the video was a black blur hovering over a school, since, of course, it was a crappy flip phone. I then decided there was no point of recording if other people couldn't really see what I was recording. The creature flew higher and just vanished after that. We went back to the park. I kept thinking this creature would have just flown down and grabbed one of us. That was it. I'm not sure. I can't say because I don't know, but my cousin brings it up whenever we have cookouts. Could this have been a Mothman, a dragon, or something else? We have no idea. '28 years later is absolutely terrible. It is the worst fucking, like, the worst. It doesn't even compare to the first or second. It's just shit. Yes. Yes, San Francisco. I agree. Yes, you are right, 100%. What is... Jeremiah, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, Jeremiah? I missed what you said, and I can't find it. I honestly didn't even think it was okay. I think it was a waste of money. They should have literally went from 28 days, 28 weeks, 28 months and dropped it right there with the end of the world. Oh, yeah, yeah. I heard that. It's interesting because if you look it up, you can't find the 911 call. You can Google YouTube though. Can you guys see me? Can you guys hear me? Yes, no? Can anyone hear me or see me? Yes. Okay. Dude, it was weird. I just got a yellow thing across the screen and it said poor internet connection. Something something something. And my internet connection is, dude, there's a lot of weird shit happening here. Yeah, because you know what it reminds me of, Jeremiah? It's that the Dogman one where the guy where it's OnStar 911 OnStar, that you can actually look up and find, but the crawler one is a fake. It's 100% fake. You can't find it. And if it was released by a 911 dispatch or whatever, you'd be able to find it. Hang on, I got to check my internet connection really quick. I don't know what the hell's going on. Internet speed test. Okay, run test. Just my Wi-Fi, 533. Download, upload is 36. So we're good. I don't know what the hell that was. That's weird. Probably, Geraldo. Probably. I know, it's weird. It's, Spectrum has been, here's something weird. And I talked about it a while, like on an upload. Spectrum has been across the street 2 different times messing with wires. And then the other day, a Spectrum truck was across the street and they had a whole setup. So I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? My parents are fully aware of this, and they did what they thought was best at the time. They are a Catholic faith. I am not much of a churchgoer, and seemingly not much happened since. Anyway, when I was 4 or 5 years old, my dad brought me to a very, very old house in the late 80s in Mexico. And they said it was a flurry of paranormal activity upon staying in my grandma's house. There was reports of fire smoke coming out of the ground, smell of sulfur, pieces of gold, and old coins would pop up around when someone was cleaning after smudging the house. But the one that struck out the most of my parents was that I woke my dad up very calmly one night and told him there was a small, red, devilish-looking child with a long tail that flailed like a happy dog at the doorway that was motioning me with his hand to go and play with him at night. When my dad told me the story around the age of 11, it was like a faded memory that started to come back to me, but it has not scared me. From my memory, it felt like a rogue spirit that didn't have anyone to play or talk with that sought me out. I have zero intention of trying to contact it, and I hope it stays away, but I found it curious. Also, the first Guillermo del Toro Hellboy movie came out. I was like, holy crap. It looks eerily familiar during the flashback scenes. Yeah, just wanted to share. Thank you. What's up, Amanda? How are you? Long time no see. You've been missed. You have been missed. Holy shit, I have not heard that movie in a while. Maniac Cop? Haha. San Fran, I hope you do. All right, here we go. Something happened to me and my wife about 9 to 10 years ago. This happened at the start of mine and my wife's relationship. We were going for a walk and we see a strange light in the sky hovering over some train tracks. This was before drones were big, so a personal drone would be pretty cool. It had red, green, and yellow lights on the bottom. We keep walking and thinking literally nothing of it. Little backdrop to the area, we are also within a mile of an airport, no fly zone, in lots and lots of trouble. We have train tracks close to where we are. I have walked it many times. This light looks like it's following the train tracks, then stops, and it slowly goes to ground. And the lights go off. About 2 seconds later, the lights are back in the sky where they started, and they are following the tracks again. And again, lowering to the ground, the lights go off. This happened maybe 4 to 6 times. I forgot over the years, but 100% at least 3. At this point, I'm talking to my wife and say, look at this very weird drone in public hands. Can't follow the same path like this without fail. And the DOT 4 times in a row has to be something advanced. I'm literally telling her I want to go on the train tracks to where the light was lowering and get a picture of an alien, LOL. She gives in and we go to the train tracks, maybe half a mile away. We walk to the direction and make a left when we get to a street coming from my apartment building. We start walking to the left and head to the viaduct. Go under it, and in the distance by the more apartment buildings, we see 2 very tall people holding hands with long necks. FYI, we also both saw this and both said the same sighting after we saw it. Just trying to get at we both saw the same thing, not one of our eye playing tricks. As we walk to these tall freaking people, all of a sudden they turn into a deer and start running at us. They get to us. We are just about under the viaduct I told you about earlier. When the deer get to us, they break to the right and one goes to the left and they go up the hill to the train tracks. We are freaked out. I want to run after them. My wife was not having it. She explains this to all of our friends that it took everything she had to get me not to follow these things and go home instead. I walk her back to the house and then tell her I am obviously going alien hunting, and I call my buddy down the street so we can get a picture of these things. Little later, me and said friend regroup on the train tracks where we last saw these humans/deer. We walk to the light, not seeing anything, backdrop to the area. We are on train tracks heading away from my apartment building. On our left is woods. After about quarter of a mile on our right is a huge warehouse with rows of giant hangar-like buildings. Kind of looks like where they'd store planes. We keep walking straight on our right. Someone walks out of the warehouse door, and I swear, staring right at us. It's pitch black. I don't know how they saw us, but they did, and they did not move from staring at us. We say whatever and keep walking. Long story short, we did not find anything like the landing site or anything cool. We were bummed out, but shit, if this didn't freak us out, we still get goosebumps about this when we talk about it. I hate terrible writing. Evil Deads are great. I love Evil Dead. What's the there's another Evil Dead that is shit. It's not, it's like a new one. It ties in with Cabin in the Woods. Did you guys ever recognize that Evil Dead kind of ties into Cabin in the Woods? Good night, Delirium. Thank you for being with us tonight. Drag Me to Hell. Yeah, it ties into it's in the same, like, yeah, I forget which one it was. Evil Dead. Evil Dead. Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead Rise ties into Cabin in the Woods. Watch Cabin in the Woods and then watch Evil Dead Rise, and you're going to be like, what the shit? It's weird. All right. I had something crazy happen to me not too long ago. I decided I'd like to share this to get your perspective. This experience happened around the middle of June 2020 and is one of the craziest things that has ever happened to me. I am not one to go looking for the paranormal. I do find it interesting and listen to a few podcasts, but it's not something I want to invite into my life. I just want to be prepared if it shows up, you know? I'd rather have the knowledge and not need it than need it and not have it. But the more you look at phenomena, the more it seems to look back at you. This is the most tangible paranormal thing I've ever experienced. I mean, I've seen weird lights in the sky and other weird stuff out here in the boonies of the Pacific Northwest. I'm 34 years old, from Granite Falls, Washington. But this was by far the most visceral. First three important details. One, I live in a travel trailer while I'm working building my house on my property. The TV sits in the back near the couch facing the front of the trailer. The bedroom is in the front and the bathroom is in the middle. Two, my dog lives in the trailer with me. His name is Hawk. He is a good guard dog and a good boy. 3, I use my Xbox with the HDMI connection through my surround bar to my TV. Okay, so I had been watching TV on my Xbox at around 9:30, 10, and I got bored with it, so I decided to play some video games. I opened one up and let it get to the loading screen, which is almost all white. I don't have any lights on in the trailer because I could see by the TV light. While the game is loading, I had gone to the bathroom to take a whiz. I'm standing there in the dark and I can still see because the light from the TV is reflecting off the mirror in the bathroom. As I am standing there using the bathroom, I can see my shadow in the reflection of the varnish on the cabinets above my toilet. And there is a horizontal white line, kind of starburst pattern, where the TV is reflecting as well. As I watched the horizontal white line disappear like someone was standing right behind me, I can feel someone or something right there. It's not even 2 feet behind me. Every single hair on my body stands on end. I am absolutely terrified. I didn't sense malice or ill intent. I just sensed power, extreme power. It felt like when you are somewhere and you see someone and you just know somehow not to mess with that person. That's the vibe I got. This felt powerful to the point where I knew that it could take me out. Without hesitation, without turning around, I asked, "Who or what are you and what do you want?" And I hadn't heard anything back, just felt the presence there not moving. I had finished using the bathroom and put myself back in my pants and by then, but hadn't turned around yet. In my head, I'm thinking, if this is how I go, I want to at least see it coming. I'm going to face it. As soon as I started to turn around, my sound bar on my TV turned itself off and everything went black. I felt a cold breeze go by past me toward the TV, and then the soundbar turned back on by itself, bringing the light back. There was no one there in the room, but it felt weird. I guess charged would be the right word. Through all of this, my dog never barked, growled, or even woke up. I had no idea what to make of this. I feel like I observed an observer, I guess. It felt like I was in an ant on an ant farm and a human was checking on me. That's how powerful it felt. If I had to if I had to put a label on the feeling, I was reading off of it that the feeling would be curiosity. I was so scared in that moment that I didn't pick up on that. Only after thinking about it later did I come to that conclusion. The hair on the back of my neck and arms are standing up right now as I type this out for you guys. One good thing to come from this is I learned something about myself. When faced with what is possibly death, and there is nothing I can do, if I am powerless to stop it, I faced it down. I faced the most fear I ever had in my life up until this point of my life, and I didn't freeze. I didn't cower or cry. I didn't try to run away. I faced it. That's a good thing to know about yourself, how you would be able to react to these situations. So who knows? Maybe that's what it was trying to teach me. So yeah, any thoughts would be a welcome invite. You never seen Cabin in the Woods, Southern Charmer? Oh my god, it is so good. It is so good. So good. Fright Night. Oh shit, I forgot about Fright Night. The old one or the new one? The 80s one or like the early 2000s? Late 90s, early 2000s? When did that come out? The original, great. The new one's good. The new one's good. Once Bitten, holy shit, that's a good one. Exorcist is a classic. It is classic. I don't remember The Stuff. That sounds like a bad porno movie, Wiley. The Stuff. That's gross. Ew. Starring Dirk Diggler. Sort of like The Blob. So it is The Stuff. It is The Stuff. I told you, starring Dirk Diggler. Hell yeah. No, he's not, Ben Pine. Not. Nope. Galaxy of Terror. Now we're going like below B movies. The stuff is mayonnaise. What are you talking about? SDL. It's mayonnaise. What's up, Robert? How are you, buddy? Email me. Send me an email. I've been wanting to talk to you. I didn't do anything to Caden. What kind of question is that? Miracle Whip. Ew. Dream Warriors is the greatest one. Greatest fucking Nightmare on Elm Street ever. Best soundtrack. Don Dokken, Dream Warriors. The only thing that would make it better is Kip Winger playing. Wanger. Kip Wanger. Ooh, Pumpkinhead is great. Fucking Kip Wanger from Wanger. Ugh. Kind of, Sonia. Don't you agree? What did you do to Caden? I don't know. I put him in a box. I don't know. I didn't do anything to him. Jesus. Except push his channel for a little bit. Ooh, The Haunting of Emily Rose. Such a good movie. Such a good movie. With The Haunting of Emily Rose, that was what, after seeing that movie, is what made me think about schizophrenia and mental illnesses and stuff with Anushka. How are you? I miss saying hi to you. I apologize. Made me believe that it was all, sounds good, Robert. Sounds good. Aubrey Rose. What's that? Porky's? I remember watching Porky's when I was just a wee bit of a lad. Wanger. It's not Winger, Robert. It's Wanger. Wanger. Remember when he puts the tip in, the little hole and the soap gets in it? Haha. Porky's. They should do a remake of Porky's. They'd never be able to do that. Aubrey Rose. Have I ever seen that movie? Aubrey Rose. Movie. Oh, from 1977? Oh, no, I'm not going to watch that. That'll just piss me off. Can you, that'd be awesome if they did a remake of Porky's, but had Lizo in it. Fucking Lizo. Yeah, buddy. STL, you heard me, didn't you? I'm like, that would just piss me off. I can't do old movies like that. They just make me mad. The Entity. I think, yes, that's the movie I think I just saw. Let me look that up real quick. I don't remember what I watched. The Entity. Did I see this? Nope, that pissed me off too. That just really pissed me off. I feel like, dude, I can't deal with old movies. She's only 17. 17. Kip Winger is a pedophile. Pedophile. Off to sleep. Good night, Southern Charmer. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. That song. She's only sad. Dude, that's so bad. Like, pop rock was terrible. If you think about the like aspect of their songs. Who Made Who is an ultimate. That doesn't even that doesn't even equate. AC/DC doesn't even equate to 80s cock rock. It was like so above Warrant and Trickster and Poison and Wanger. Like, who would name a band Trickster? It sounds like a bunch of prostitutes. Thunderstruck, 59th. Thunderstruck, not Thunder. Thunderstruck. God dang it. Ooh, a remake of Maximum Overdrive, especially now. Especially now would be sick. Sick. They could do it. They do say thunder 1,000 times, but it's Thunderstruck. Thunderstruck. Thank you, Amanda. You missed it. Last week, we got 100,000 subscribers. Cool thing about old movies, no green screen, all bad acting, and no fluff. Dude, remember the movie Sleepaway Camp? Remember Sleepaway Camp? That was filmed in Argyle, New York, which is like 10 minutes from my house. That little pond where the dude got like and his wiener popped out, but he was supposed to be. I was like, whoa, Dad, that girl's got a wiener. My dad's like, don't look. Sleepaway Camp. Thank you, Amanda. It was filmed in Argyle, New York. It's so crazy. You can drive by. The camp is still there. It's a Jewish camp, I believe. But there was a wiener. A remake of Maximum Overdrive would be phenomenal. Phenomenal. I would pay good money to see that. Or Cujo. Ooh. Have Cujo just be like, oh, you know what would be cool? If they did a remake of Cujo with a Tesla. And the Tesla camera picked up what Cujo was doing on the outskirts of the car. How sick would that be? Oh, yeah. Absolutely, Boondock. Well, big balls. You got to think about AC/DC's big balls. My balls are always bouncing. My balls are always full. We've got crabs. Oh, God, I forgot about that scene. I remember when I first heard Big Balls, that was like my brain picked up on that one fucking thing. I'm like, they got crabs? I was like 12. I'm like, we've got crabs? Slayer's great, dude. Oh, Slayer. I got Seasons of the Abyss and Rain and Blood on vinyl downstairs. I fucking love Slayer. Dance with the dead in my dreams. Listen to the hollowed screams. Temptations lost all control. No, leave me alone. Oh, shit. This is fun. I'm having fun. About 20 years ago, I had one of the most perplexing things happen to me while I was out having a cigarette. It was 2 a.m. I had woken up in the middle of the night after tossing and turning. I just couldn't get back to sleep. I decided to go and have a cigarette. For reference, I lived in an apartment with a small cement patio out front. It was on a very busy street with a sidewalk that runs alongside of it. While the street was loud and busy during the day, it was peaceful to sit out at night. All of my neighbors were sleeping, and the night was cool and calming. Anyway, I'm sitting on the patio steps. A large, dark colored animal came to view from the distance. It was walking on the sidewalk. For some reason, my freeze response kicked in. I became a brick, and the hair on my arms raised. While it walked slowly toward me, I tried to make out what kind of animal is this? It was easily as big as a horse. I know people sometimes walk their horses around town. What the fuck town do you live in, buddy? Even though this is a large city, but there was no rider on this creature. Is it an escaped horse? It got closer. I was more confused. It resembled a large Black Panther lion bear hybrid. Holy shit, it's a horse Black Panther lion hybrid. It had black hair and it was wavy and curly. I could see the steam from its breath. The crazy thing is it didn't seem to be aware of my presence. Maybe that's why I stayed frozen, letting my cigarette burn out completely. It was like I knew if I moved, it would kill me. My body eventually let me move, but I was probably out there for a good 30 minutes, scared out of my mind. I don't know much about these things, but I feel like I saw something that I was not supposed to. I feel like it was from a different dimension, and I got a peek. I've had a few paranormal type encounters and other perplexing glitches that have happened recently that always feel the same way, like I'm just getting a glimpse into the veil. It walked, it was like a horse. I'm sitting on my porch smoking a cigarette, and I instantly think, look, there's a horse on the sidewalk. What the shit? Fucking dork. Like, what town does this buddy live in? People walk their horses on the sidewalk at night all the time. Fucking touch hole. Wolfen is a great movie. And then it was a horse. It's a panther bear pig dick. Fucking Joker. You know, you want to hear something crazy, Jamie? Remember Basket Case? No, never seen Viking Wolf. Viking Wolf. So Basket Case was that movie where the guy had that, where he had his brother. His brother was like this deformed little fucking creepy thing, right? It looked like a tumor with an arm and like that. It was like imagine where this ends and it's like this. It looked like Stephen Hawkins like pushed in a ball. Okay. And what the fuck? And the brother had it in his fucking in a hat box. And it was totally terrible. The movie took place in, where does Jeff live? Glens Falls, New York? Yeah, it took place in Glens Falls. It only says what my population is about. You know, it produces little fucking gremlins. Basket Case, the movie. Let's get a synopsis of this fucking thing right here. Synopsis. The plot. Dr. Julius Lithlander is frightened by something outside of his country home near Glens Falls, New York. A shadowed creature then cuts his phone line in the power before killing Lithlander by tearing at his face. Dwayne Bradley arrives in New York City with a locked wicker basket. He gets a room at a cheap hotel right down the hall from a sex worker named Lizo. He takes some hamburgers and feeds them to the creature in the basket, which talks to him telepathically. When Dwayne is out the next day, a man named Brian O'Donovan looks through Dwayne's keyhole in order to steal Dwayne's wad of money. Lizo scares him off and informs Dwayne about it. Dwayne takes his basket to see Dr. Harold Needleman and be his assistant Sharon. Needleman contacts Dr. Judith Cutter and tells him about Dwayne's visit and Lifflander's death, but she ignores him. Dwayne goes back to Needleman that night and empties the creature, who reveals to be his twin brother, onto the floor. The creature kills Needleman by gutting him with his claws. The next day, Dwayne goes to meet Sharon at the Statue of Liberty, and they kiss. The creature senses and thrashes the hotel room in a temper tantrum because how dare my brother kiss somebody? I want to kiss him. He hides when the hotel manager opens the door to see what the commotion is. O'Donovan sneaks inside to steal Dwayne's money, but is instead killed by the brother when he opens the basket. Dwayne senses the attack telepathically and he hurries back. Dwayne tells his brother that he deserves some time to himself. I deserve some time to myself, you little tumor. Dwayne, with the basket, runs into Cassie at a bar and drunkenly tells her that his brother is in the basket. And it's this little tumor-looking thing with a clawed arm. The flashback relates their story. They were conjoined twins at birth, and their aunt was the only one who would take care of them. However, the twins were surgically separated at an early age by Dr. Lifflander, Dr. Needleman, and Cutter, which explains the hatred for the doctors. They then murdered their father, which was ruled an accident, and lived with their aunt before dying. They then went to murder the doctors who had separated them. The brother deeply resents being cut off from his normal-looking brother, and Dwayne equally resents how heartless everyone acts towards his brother. That is my tumor in a box. Back in present day, the brother sneaks into Cassie's bedroom and scares her out before stealing her underwear. I don't remember that part. Next day, Dwayne and his brother go to the office. She tries to dismiss them, but Dwayne reveals who he was before the little tumor brother kills the doctor by shoving her face into a drawer full of sharp objects. Sharon goes to Dwayne's apartment seeking safety after Needleman's death, and they start to make love, but jealous, freaky little tumor brother starts screaming, and Dwayne is forced to toss Sharon aside. Get off me, bitch. That night, the little brother goes out to find Sharon while Dwayne has a dream. The brother sneaks into Sharon's apartment and tries to attack her. He attacks and kills her, and when she wakes up and screams, enraged at his brother for his actions, Dwayne takes the little tumor thing back to the apartment. In the scene that attracts several people to his hotel room, which exposes the existence of the creature, the two of them fall from the hotel window where ongoers look at their bodies. That was Basket Case. That was fucking good. The original house was good. I'm telling you, if you look up the creature from Basket Case, shit, you guys are going to be scared. I can't show it to you on my phone because the little tumor brother from Basket Case, the movie. Oh, shit, I wish you guys could see it. Look at it. It looks like a big tumor. It's like, The OG House is the greatest, one of the greatest movies ever. Ever. All right. What's up, Nightmare Zoo? Farmers of Death. All right. Here is the last Lizo, the Lot Lizard story. Right here. This is a cannibalistic baby. Chud is the greatest movie ever made. Cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. I will never be able to sleep because of that movie. That movie scared me so bad. So bad. I love you. All right, here we go. The air at the Starlight truck stop hung thick and greasy. A potent cocktail of diesel fumes, stale coffee, and guess what? Desperation. It was a place where the neon glow of the diner side sign did a little to ward off the encroaching shadows. A place where the moon, a sliver of bone in the watch, with an unblinking eye. This was the domain of Lizo, the undisputed queen of the lot lizards, a woman whose laughter could shatter glass, and whose heart, surprisingly, was as vast as the endless highway. Lizo, a force of nature in sequenced hot pants and a leopard print bra, was in her element, presiding over her usual late night parade of weary truckers and equally weary women. The rumbling of idle engines was their soundtrack, punctuated by the clatter of plates from the diner and the occasional drunken bellow. It was a familiar, albeit grim, ballet. Then it happened, a tiny whimper, barely audible, above the din. Cut through the night, Lizo, her senses honed by years of survival, was the first to notice. Her eyes, usually sparkling with mischief, narrowed with concern as she followed the sound. Tucked away behind a discarded stack of pallets, swaddled in a surprisingly clean, albeit worn blanket, was a baby. A collective gasp rippled through the gathering of patrons and the women of the night. The baby, no bigger than a loaf of bread, blinked up at the strange, harsh lights with wide, innocent eyes. It was a creature of pure vulnerability in a place that thrived on hardness. Lizo, queen of transactions, found herself utterly disarmed. She knelt, her sequenced hips protesting slightly. A gently scooped the infant into her arms. The baby, remarkably, didn't cry. Instead, it nuzzled into her ample chest. Its tiny hands instinctively clutched a fold of her sequenced top. Well, I'll be damned! The trucker named Earl, a man built like a refrigerator with a beard that could house a family of squirrels, rumbled from his perch on a nearby stool. A wave of unsuspecting tenderness swept through the starlight. The hardened faces around them softened. The prostitutes, the women, usually judged and dismissed, cooed and reached out tentatively towards the infant. Lizo, for the first time in a long time, felt something akin to pure, unadulterated love boom from her heart. They christened him Starlight, a nod to their uncanny sanctuary. The next 2 nights were a blur of coos and cuddles. Starlight, the foundling, became the undisputed center of the Starlight universe. Lizo, usually a whirlwind of activity, found herself content to sit, rocking the baby. Her gruff exterior melted away. The truckers, usually gruff and boisterous, brought him tiny, carefully chosen gifts: a miniature trucker hat, a pacifier shaped like a steering wheel. Even the most jaded of the lot lizards themselves felt drawn to the innocent perfection of the child, offering lullabies and gentle touches. It was an anomaly, a moment of grace under the harsh neon glare. But the Starlight truck stop, like the shadows that clung to it, held a deep, unsettling darkness. The moon, which had seemed to watch with amusement, now seemed to gleam with baleful, predatory light. On the third night, a change came over Starlight. The innocent coos turned to guttural growls. The wide, innocent eyes began to glow with a feverish, unholy light. The tiny hands, once so delicate, flexed with unsettling strength. The baby, no longer small, began to stretch, to grow, its innocent features contorting into something monstrous. Panic erupts. The sweet, innocent child had transformed into a hulking, grotesque infant, his skin a sickly, translucent green, its limbs unnaturally long and gangly. He was no longer a baby. He was a nightmare made of flesh, a 16-foot 3-inch abomination. The first to fall were two truckers, their screams cut short as the monstrous infant devoured them with a horrifying, slobbering efficiency. Their thick boots disappeared into the cavernous maw. Then three of the lot lizards, women who had cradled and cooed just hours before, met their gruesome end. The love they had felt had turned into a deadly, insatiable hunger. The creature, his tiny blood-streaked mouth stretched wide, turning its glowing eyes towards Lizo. She was still clutching tattered remains of the blanket, her face a mask of horror, but a flicker of that fierce protective love remained. She was blind to the monster, only seeing the lost child she had found. Starlight, no, she cried, her voice crackled. But the creature was beyond her pleas. It lunged its massive baby-like hand reaching for her, its hunger absolute. Lizo, for all her was no match for the monstrous infant. She was about to become the final victim by this misguided affection. Just as the creature's gnashing teeth were about to sink into Lizo, a roar split the air. Earl, a mountain of a man, had had enough. His face, usually etched with weariness, was a mask of pure rage. He grabbed the nearest weapon he could find, a hefty, guess what, tire iron, polished to a dull sheen from years of use. You ain't touching her, you overgrown diaper-wading freak, Earl bellowed, his voice a thunderclap. The battle that ensued was epic, a clash between pure primal rage and monstrous hunger. Earl, despite his size, moved with surprising agility, dodging the flailing, monstrous baby limbs of this creature. The truck stop, usually a place of despair, became a battleground. The air filled with clang of metal and flesh, roars of the creature, Earl's defiant bellows. The creature was immense, a terrifying spectacle of distorted innocence, but Earl was fueled by something just as powerful, a ferocious protectiveness that had ignited in the heart of its unlikely community. He fought not just for Lizo, but for the brief, fragile hope that Starlight had represented. With a final, earth-shattering roar, Earl swung the tire iron with all his might. It connected with the creature's head with a thickening thud. The glowing eyes flickered, glazed over. The monstrous infant, with a final, pathetic gurgle, crumpled to the ground. The unnatural growth ceased, and it was, for a fleeting moment, just a large, strangely formed, but undeniably dead infant. Silence descended, broken only by the raging breath of Earl and Lizo. The smell of diesel fumes was now masked with something metallic and sickening. The moon was fully visible, seemed to cast a pale, mournful light on a scene of carnage. Lizo's tears streamed down her face, stumbled toward Earl. He stood panting, the tire iron still clutched in his massive hands, his eyes filled with a mixture of exhaustion and grim satisfaction. You saved us, Earl, Lizo states, her voice hoarse. Earl just grunted, looking at the grotesque remains. Some things, he just said, his voice rough with emotion, ain't meant to be loved that way, Lizo. Some things just born bad. The Starlight truck stop was never quite the same. The memory of a monstrous baby and the love that turned so horribly awry lingered like a phantom in the diesel-scented air. But in the heart of a lonely highway oasis, a new understanding had formed, a bond forged in love and terror, and the improbable heroism of a man with a tire iron who proved that even in the darkest hours and places, a flicker of humanity and the willingness to fight for it could prevail. Yes, Earl! What's up? Do something? How are you, buddy? Hell Comes from Frogtown? No, don't remember that one. I'm doing well. Thank you for asking. Lizo definitely couldn't handle that. She was just like, some things are just born bad. Shit, I'm out of soda. Night, Samara. Have a good night. All right, last experience of the night. When I was in my early 20s, my friend and I were in my boyfriend's basement talking about the paranormal and discussing our views and experiences in that regard. There was a bedroom directly across from where we were sitting, and neither of us liked the vibes coming from the empty room, which is what started the conversation. After a few minutes, I felt something bump the back of the couch hard enough to make me bounce forward a little. Then I felt a hand on my shoulder. I didn't take it seriously. Maybe I was imagining it, but she said she felt it as well. Whatever, I didn't believe her yet. That's when I saw something horrific from the doorway of that room. I was absolutely certain I imagined it, and I wasn't going to say anything about it. But when she described the thing, I thought I had imagined holy shit balls. At the bottom of the doorway, a little being that can only say looked like a little head goblin from the movie Legend with Tom Cruise, except without a huge nose and at a scary face, wide grin full of sharp teeth, and greasy looking black ringlets of hair sprang up diagonally from near the bottom of the darkened doorway. It looked right at me, then disappeared the same way it appeared. I couldn't help the gasp that escaped me, but as I said, I was going to keep it to myself so neither of us questioned my sanity until she spoke up and said I saw it too. Now, I hadn't said to her that I saw anything, but she went on to describe everything I had just said above while I sat there speechless and scared. It did not take long after that to gather up our belongings and zip past that dark doorway and sprint up those stairs as fast, never to go down there again. Thank you. All right, guys. What a night. What a night. A night of fun. A night of talking about the greatest horror movie ever, The Basket Case. I'm telling you, you guys got to look up Basket Case, the monster, and just tell me that doesn't look like Stephen Hawkins, like just crumpled up. Farmers of Death. Dude, that is the greatest name. Every time I see that name, I haven't seen that name in a year at least. Farmers of Death. That would be the greatest metal band ever. Farmers of Death. Shit. Who would we have in Farmers of Death? We definitely have Dave Lombardo as the drummer. We'd have Dave as the drummer. Tom Herrera as, what did he play? Bass or guitar? Bass. Didn't he play bass or guitar? Tom played bass. Greatest death metal band ever. Farmers of Death. Dance. Mustard, what's up, buddy? How are you? You going to work? Dude, I hit 100,000, brother. It was nice seeing you. I'm waiting patiently for a new one of your new greats to come out soon. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you. I really do. It's nice to see you. I saw your Cujo thing. Actually, that's what made me think. Sea Mustard was what made me think of Cujo. And I was like, wouldn't Cujo be cool if they did a remake and they did it from inside a Tesla? That's good, brother. That's good. Send me an email. I want to talk with you when you get a minute. I'm so glad that you're freaking doing better though. I know you're like, if you have not seen Sea Mustard's channel, like this dude is amazing. He is like the king of, he is so creative, like he is above creepy pasta. He is his own creator, but he has like the greatest stories ever. Like better than my lot lizard stories. He is just a phenomenal creative dude. You guys got to check him out. Sea Mustard. From Tool. Yeah, definitely. I need to find basket case first. Oh, shit. All right, guys. Have a wonderful night tonight. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Thank you for hanging out with me for almost 3 hours. We're 8 minutes shy. You want to just finish it off so we get 8 hours or 3 hours in? Want to do 3 hours completely? We got 8 minutes. We could do one more experience. How about that? Don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. I was around 12 or 13 in middle school at the time, waiting around at the bus stop, looking around when I caught a glimpse of something quite large in the tree. It looked heavy set, and I could make out a pair of wings. I saw it move a little, and I freaked out, set out to run, and then I saw the bus. I turned around, and the creature was gone. I figured I had totally imagined the whole thing. I was very tired, and it was early. Fast forward a few weeks. It was 9 a.m. and dark out, or 9 p.m. and dark outside. I'm in my room watching TV when all of a sudden I hear banging on the window and yelling. I look out my window to see my best friend. I open the window, and like a crazy person, he climbs through my window telling me to close the window. Turns out he claimed to have seen the same thing I saw in a park with huge wings, and it was chasing him from the park. The park was a short walk to my house. This was the last time I heard about the creature until my sister called me a month or so ago and was asking me about the creature I had seen. I had told her about it years ago. I don't remember the whole hell of a lot about it. I figured I hallucinated it, right? She starts telling me about the story her husband was telling her about a flying creature that chased him and his friends in the same park in the middle of the night. What he recounted was pretty accurate to my experience. To my best of my knowledge, the creature reminded me of a gargoyle. I tried to recount more and more of it and try to get info from my brother-in-law. Anyway, thank you. All right. We are pretty close to 3 hours, so we're just going to end it. Kelly Johnson, how are you? Thank you, Kelly. Guys, thank you for having fun with me tonight. The live stream is what it is. It's a good time, and you guys make it special, so thank you. Love you all, and I'll see you next week. Have a good rest of your weekend, and stay well, stay safe. Don't let your meat loaf, and be good. See you later, farmers of death. Tyler, have a good night. Neutrino, all my family. Turbo Christ, Jess B, do something. Ermic, if you're still in the house, love you, brother. Simone, Wiley, Jad, Geraldo, farmers of death. Love you guys. Have a good night. Thank you.